The new Triumph Rocket Storm costs £23,000, which for a motorbike sounds like quite a lot, but actually, in some ways, it's the best value motorcycle you can buy right now, and I shall explain it, firstly, with some maths. The R is the cheaper of the two versions, costing £23,195. This gives it a price per cubic centimetre of engine capacity of £9.34. In comparison, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor, perhaps the best value cruiser around, has a per cc price of £10.46. We could also do this by price per pound-feet of torque, which for the Rocket 3 is about £140. A Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is more like £164 per pound-foot. And then, of course, there's the sheer amount of bike you're getting, with a wet weight of 317 kilos and an overall length of 2.5 metres. See? Proof via numbers that the Triumph Rocket is actually excellent value. The thing is, it's not just maths, there's also the way it rides and the way it is to experience. So yeah, we'll go and take these for a ride. So before we do anything else, I thought I might just talk through the changes, and that won't take long because there aren't actually that many. Obviously, yeah, there's the extra power and the extra torque. That is all from a map, by the way. There's no internal changes whatsoever. Most of the changes really, other than that, are all focused around sort of aesthetic stuff. So we've got these new wheels, particularly a fan of the rear. Doesn't that look lovely? More blacked out stuff like the exhaust, sort of around the radiator, stuff like that. So it's just a bit less sprangly than before. The tank finishes are new. There are several different options you can go for. We can obviously, you've got the black over grey there. Over here, there's grey over black. And really, that is it. I mean, Triumph would have had to have done something because the old bike wasn't Euro 5 plus. This one is. And we all know that we now need bikes to be Euro 5 plus, or yeah, can't sell them. As before, you've got the choice of an R or a GT, and yeah, here's a pretty good illustration. If you look just there, obviously they're not quite level, but we can see we've got the R there with pegs much further back, the GT with them further forward, so kind of more classic sort of cruiser style. You can, though, if you want, if you change your mind, there is some adjustability actually in these as well. So if you look here, yeah, you can whip out your Allen key, have a bit of a play, and move stuff around. But yeah, if you decide, you know, you buy either one, decide the position isn't for you, you can buy a kit and your local Triumph dealer will fit that and yeah, switch it to the different position. Also, differences between the R and the GT are in the handlebars. You can see on this R here we've got a much more sort of forward leaning riding position. You've got the swept back position here on the GT, just brings the bars a bit closer to you, which goes with what your legs are doing as well. You join me first from a petrol station, because who'd have thought a 330 kilo motorbike with a 2.5 litre inline 3 producing 180 brake horsepower, it's quite thirsty. On a 330 kilo motorbike there's no reverse on this, but there is if you do one hard squeeze of the front brake at a standstill. Yeah, there's a hill hold assist, which is quite handy, because I find the front brakes on these, the first little bit of travel doesn't seem to do a great deal. You've got to give it quite a good flexing of the ankle before anything really happens. So the first time you go to do a hill start without using the hill hold, try and hold it on the hill with the rear brake, you'll be like, oh shit, it's not actually worked. One thing I will say is, wherever we've gone, people have loved seeing these bikes. I think whether you're into bikes or not, you see it and you know it's something special and a bit different. Probably because, yeah, if you look at it, it does just look like a massive engine with some wheels stuck at either end and some handlebars plonked on the top. And to be fair, that's not actually too far from the truth. Look at these guys having a lovely time. Nice little selection of bikes there. Moto Guzzi Africa Twin. So we spent this morning on the GT. The peg's a lot further forward. We're now on the R, so we've now got kind of a mid position with the pegs. No more pillion backrest, not that that matters because we're not carrying pillions today, funnily enough. And the bars, as you can probably see, much straighter. You don't have that aggressive sweep that brings them closer to you on the GT, and that means we are a bit more forward. So it does feel
a bit sportier. And the weird thing is, I kind of thought, yeah, I was going to be more me. I've not ridden the R before, I've only ridden the GT, but weirdly, I got quite acclimatised to the GT. I did think that riding position does suit the bike, even though, yeah, this isn't a typical cruiser. It is a cruiser that makes you want to press on more than average. None of these bikes have quick shifters. They are an option. That's 295 quid. Would you have one? I don't know. I think I probably would. I'm already at half throttle and it's just ridiculous. Right, go on then, second gear, full throttle. Jesus bloody hell! Oh, I love this bike. It's just such a weird idea. On paper, yeah. Giant inline triple, monstrous amount of torque. Can I feel the extra power? I mean, normally those kind of gains sound like Mario then, that wasn't the intention. Yeah, on a lot of other bikes that kind of power increase would seem like a lot, but yeah, in percentage terms here, I'm actually talking like a great deal more. It was stupidly fast before, now it's slightly more stupidly fast. But yeah, it does turn. It needs a firm input, shall we say, but it does respond to that. It is, after a while you kind of forget the sort of bike you're on. When you do that and then you remember, but until that point you kind of forget what kind of bike you're on. You ride it just like anything else. I have heard people say before that these are a bit too firm. I'm not sure I agree with that. Yes, there is a touch of firmness to the damping, but it's also pretty plush. Utterly silly bike.
There are points at which the Rocket 3 Storm can't quite hide its weight, especially in the tighter corners, but overall it's astonishing just what it's capable of considering its sheer mass. The engine could perhaps do with sounding a little airier, but it's probably the best we can expect from a Euro 5 Plus compliant exhaust system. The thing is, the brawn of that 2.5 litre lump is such that it doesn't need to be too shouty to leave an impression. It's a proper bruiser and quite unlike anything else out there, and that goes for the whole bike. It truly is without any clear rival. And it's this uniqueness that makes it the best value motorcycle you can buy, much more than my selective maths. Although, I think that helps too.
Now you might look at a bike like the Rocket and think it's not for you. I know I've looked at this bike for years before I rode it and kind of disregarded it really because it seems a bit silly. 330 kilos, massive engine, it doesn't look like it's going to turn at all. But I urge you, if you ever get the chance, do just try and ride one, because honestly it will blow you away just what these are capable of, because they don't look like they should be able to do that. If you look at the figures and everything else, it doesn't seem possible. Now the new stuff, I mean, it's not a fundamentally different bike to ride. Can you feel the extra power? I don't know that you can, because if you look at the actual percentage increase that it accounts for, both the power and the torque, it's really not much. It's gone from being very powerful and very torquey to even more. It remains an extremely appealing bike. It's just a bit more appealing than it was before. And in terms of stuff I don't like, there's not really much to nitpick. I mean, as explained, it is expensive, but as also explained, it kind of isn't when you think about it. Other stuff, well, you know, obviously this engine does kick off a hell of a lot of heat when you're in traffic, so you are going to get toasty thighs, but I mean, 2.5 litres, what do you expect? The only other thing I could think of is the gear indicator display is weirdly slow at catching up with what you're actually doing, which is a bit of a strange issue, but other than that, there's really not much to pick fault. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more videos, we've got some coming up here. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, and head over to visordown.com where you can find more news and reviews and general motorcycling good stuff.